Story 1. Just a few short years ago, I finally reached the long-awaited milestone of college graduation. My name is Kaylee, a 26-year-old business graduate with a world of possibilities before me. But as promising as my future seemed, the memory of a particular day remains etched in my mind like a haunting specter, a day that would forever be etched as the worst and most terrifying of my life. It began like any other day in the routine of my life. The sun had yet to rise as I peeled myself out of bed at the ungodly hour of 5 o'clock. Adhering to my ritualistic morning routine, I showered, meticulously applied my makeup, and savored those precious moments of tranquility before the chaos of school consumed me. However, on this fateful day, the tranquility was shattered by the incessant buzzing of my phone. It was Eva, my best friend, bombarding me with a flurry of urgent messages. Setting down my hair straightener, I reached for my phone, curiosity gnawing at me. Something was amiss. Eva's frantic texts revolved around her tumultuous relationship with her boyfriend, whom I'll refer to as Alex. It was a recurring theme: his erratic behavior, his possessiveness, his unhealthy obsession with control. We, her friends, had always despised him, unable to comprehend why she remained entangled in such a toxic bond. But today, Eva's messages carried a heightened sense of alarm. Amidst her frantic ramblings, Eva mentioned blocking Alex for the entire day, seeking respite from his relentless interrogations and accusations of infidelity. It was a temporary escape, or so we hoped. Eva, though not officially my roommate, practically lived in my room, seeking solace and companionship in our late-night study sessions and gossip sessions. It was during one such session, as the clock struck 10, that a notification on Eva's phone shattered a fragile piece of our evening. Startled from the edge of sleep, both of us peered at the screen, revealing a message request from an unfamiliar Instagram user. The words on the screen sent chills cascading down our spines. Open the door. Suddenly, a resounding thud reverberated through the door, jolting us into a state of panic. Fear gripped our hearts as we pieced together the horrifying truth. It could only be Alex seeking revenge, fueled by his delusions and possessive rage. Initially, our feeble plan was to wait it out, hoping he would eventually give up and leave. But hope quickly withered in the face of relentless pounding and the enraged shouts that pierced the night. "Let me in, you stupid girl. I know you're in there. You've been caught red-handed." His voice, distorted by anger, bore little resemblance to the person we once knew. Deep down, we knew it was him, but his transformation into this unrecognizable monster chilled us to the bone. It became evident that we wouldn't escape unscathed. 5 minutes felt like an eternity as he relentlessly pounded on the door, even resorting to kicking it in a desperate bid to break through. I dialed the emergency line, summoning the police, but the uncertainty of their arrival time hung heavily in the air. Suddenly, the relentless cacophony ceased, replaced by fading footsteps that echoed into the distance. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the awakened voices of our dorm neighbors. Two concerned souls swiftly contacted campus security, who arrived at our door mere moments later. Though skepticism initially clouded my mind, fearing it could be another of Alex's ploys, I summoned the courage to open the door, placing my trust in these uniformed protectors. With trembling hands, I relayed the harrowing events to the officer while Eva corroborated my account. As we poured out our fears and shared the details of Alex's relentless pursuit, another deputy discovered him attempting to flee in the campus parking lot. Caught red-handed, Alex was apprehended with a knife, a bondage rope, and an assortment of pills. The gravity of his intentions sent shivers down my spine, but I pushed the horrifying possibilities out of my mind, choosing not to dwell on the sinister depths of his twisted plans. A mere thought was enough to induce nightmares. Exhausted but unable to find solace in sleep, I remained awake until the early hours of the morning, my mind consumed by the traumatic events. Each time I managed to drift off, I jolted awake, my heart pounding in my chest. Fear had become an unwelcome bedfellow, and the sanctuary of slumber seemed elusive. In the days that followed, Eva and I sought refuge in the homes of friends, unwilling to return to the room that had become a breeding ground for terror. The impact of that night had left an indelible mark on our psyches, instilling a sense of unease that lingered even in the presence of trusted companions. Yet, the nightmare was far from over. Although Eva had mustered the courage to end her relationship with Alex for good, his presence continued to cast a shadow over our lives. His attempts to intrude upon our safe spaces persisted, his unsettling demeanor an ever-present reminder that something was deeply amiss with him. While his actions were no longer as violent as that fateful night, an unsettling aura surrounded Alex. It was as if an insidious darkness lurked beneath his facade, whispering of sinister intentions yet to be fully realized. We remained on guard, never allowing ourselves to grow complacent in his unsettling presence. Time passed, wounds healed, but the scars of that night remained etched upon our souls. We grew stronger, more resilient, refusing to be defined by the horrors that had unfolded within the confines of our sanctuary. As for Alex, his menacing presence eventually dissipated into the depths of our past. We heard whispers of his troubled existence from time to time, but we chose not to delve into the details, focusing instead on rebuilding our lives, finding solace in the bonds that had grown stronger amidst the chaos. Looking back, I still shudder at the proximity to danger, the thin veil that separates safety from unspeakable horrors. It serves as a constant reminder of the fragility of our existence, urging us to cherish the moments of peace and the relationships that bring light into our lives. My experience reshaped my perspective, instilling a sense of vigilance and an unwavering belief in the power of friendship and community. It taught me that true strength lies not only in one's ability to overcome adversity, but in the unity and support shared among kindred spirits. And so, as I embark on the next chapter of my life, I carry the lessons learned from that fateful day, lessons of resilience, of trusting one's instincts, and of the unyielding power of friendship. May it serve as a reminder to all who face the darkness that, even in the face of unspeakable horrors, the light of hope and unity will prevail. Story 2. When I reflect on my college years, a chilling incident stands out, forever etched in my memory. At the age of 21, juggling the responsibilities of a full-time student while occasionally staying with my parents, a strange and unsettling encounter unfolded before me. One fateful evening, I found myself engrossed in the company of a friend in his dorm room. The hours slipped away unnoticed as we immersed ourselves in the world of Wii games, losing track of time. It wasn't until I glanced at my phone that the realization struck me like a bolt of unease. The clock read 9 o'clock, and the encroaching darkness signaled the need for me to retreat to the safety of my own dorm. Bid farewell to my friend, I resolved to make my way back, navigating the familiar halls that now seemed tinged with a hint of foreboding. Before proceeding to my room, a pressing need compelled me to use the restroom. The journey to the bathroom was inconveniently long, located at the end of the hallway, adorned with flickering lights that cast eerie shadows. Pausing for a moment, a surge of trepidation coursed through me, hesitating my footsteps. In retrospect, I chid myself for succumbing to fear, for allowing the sinister atmosphere to consume my thoughts. Nevertheless, an inexplicable sense of caution gripped me. Straining my ears, I detected peculiar noises emanating from the bathroom, a symphony of bangs and creaking footsteps. Frozen in indecision, I weighed my options. Should I retreat and seek solace in an alternative restroom, distant as it may be? Rationalizing that my fears were unfounded, I dismissed my apprehensions and steeled myself to confront the unknown. Approaching the bathroom entrance, an overwhelming wave of negativity washed over me, permeating my very core. It was as if an invisible force sought to dissuade me from entering, a voice whispering caution in my ear. But I chose to disregard it, brushing off the instinctual warnings that threatened to unravel my composure. Merely a few steps away from the threshold, my senses heightened, attuned to any sign of danger. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a fleeting shadow, flickering like a wisp of darkness. Instinctively turning my head, I searched for its source, finding nothing but emptiness. A faint chorus of whispers pervaded the silence, intermingling with the eerie ambience. Despite my increasing unease and the shock coursing through my veins, curiosity compelled me to investigate. One by one, I pushed open the stall doors, and to my disbelief, I stumbled upon a scene that defied rational explanation. There, perched upon the toilet seat, sat the janitor, his countenance distorted and contorted, as if he had been subjected to an otherworldly torment. A disturbing cocktail of drugs had plunged him into a state of delirium, teetering on the precipice of a drug-induced psychosis. The sight before me was a chilling glimpse into the abyss of his tortured mind. I recoiled in horror, the realization dawning upon me that I had stumbled upon a man who had long ago lost his grip on reality. This was no ordinary janitor, his appearance mirrored that of a broken soul, resembling the type of desperate individuals one might encounter on dimly lit street corners in the roughest parts of town. Aware of his peculiarity, I chose not to extend a helping hand or engage in conversation. I, too, became a silent observer, devoid of compassion or judgment, prioritizing my own well-being over his plight. In the wake of the encounter, I neither reported his behavior to the authorities nor informed the school administration, burdened by a mixture of fear, uncertainty, and a sense of self-preservation. Instead, I confided in a few close friends, sharing the unnerving encounter that had unfolded within the walls of the restroom. Word spread like wildfire through the grapevine, as the story of the janitor's disturbing activities reached the ears of fellow students. While not entirely surprised by the rumors, the revelation of his unsettling behavior only solidified the prevailing belief that something was inherently wrong with him. Whispers of him being involved in more sinister acts, particularly involving minors, circulated within the confines of our campus. While I couldn't verify the veracity of these accusations, a collective unease settled over the student body. It was as if the shadows within the dimly lit corridors and hidden corners held a deeper darkness, one that went beyond the janitor's drug-induced episodes. Though I strived not to be prejudiced, my intuition had nagged at me from the first day I laid eyes on him, a nagging that now seemed justified. In the aftermath of that harrowing encounter, a newfound wariness pervaded my being. Nighttime became a time of caution and vigilance, as I struggled to shake off the lingering fear that I had inadvertently brushed against the malevolence lurking in the shadows. The halls that had once felt like a second home now concealed secrets and shadows, prompting me to stay extra vigilant during my nightly journeys to and from my dorm room. But the twisted tale of the janitor did not reach its end with that haunting encounter. Despite the breakup between him and his tortured sanity, He would occasionally resurface in our lives like a specter refusing to be banished. While his actions were never as brazen or violent as that fateful night, there remained an undeniable disturbance about him, an unsettling aura that permeated his presence. Though I had chosen to distance myself from his world of darkness, others were not so fortunate. The tendrils of his past transgressions continued to entangle unsuspecting souls, leaving an indelible mark on their lives. It was a chilling reminder that evil, once unleashed, can cast a long shadow reaching beyond the confines of a single encounter. To this day, the memory of that night serves as a chilling reminder of the fragility of our perceived safety and the depths of darkness that can reside within the most unexpected of individuals. It serves as a cautionary tale, urging us to trust our instincts, heed the whispers of intuition, and remain ever vigilant in a world where the line between normalcy and malevolence can be blurred. Story 3. One night, fatigue enveloped me as I drifted off to sleep, lulled by the nostalgia of watching the classic movie Sandlot. However, my peaceful slumber was abruptly shattered by a jarring noise emanating from outside my dorm room. Startled, I snapped awake, my heart pounding in my chest. Living in a small college dorm, late-night disturbances weren't uncommon, as fellow students often roamed the halls. Glancing at my phone, the bright screen displayed the haunting hour of midnight. Curiosity mingled with trepidation as I strained to discern the source of the commotion. Seconds stretched into minutes as I listened intently, only for the clamor to abruptly cease. Doubt began to creep into my mind, tempting me to dismiss the incident as mere coincidence. Resolving to ignore the disturbance, I settled back into bed, preparing to drift off once more. Yet, my respite was short-lived, shattered by an insistent pounding on my door. Startled and irritated, I sprung out of bed, a surge of anger coursing through my veins. Expecting to confront a mischievous friend or an anonymous prankster, I stormed into the hallway after opening my door, ready to deliver a stern reprimand. To my bewilderment, there was no one in sight. A sense of unease slithered up my spine, casting shadows of doubt on my initial assumption. With a mix of frustration and concern, I raised my voice, hoping to reach the invisible intruder and make them aware of the seriousness of their actions. Determined to protect my personal space, I hastily closed and locked the door, my senses on high alert. For what felt like an eternity, I remained vigilant, straining to catch any sign of another disturbance. Just as I began to question my own sanity, the echoes of pounding resounded once more, accompanied by the anguished screams of a man in distress. Driven by both empathy and curiosity, I catapulted out of my room, driven by an urgent need to uncover the truth. However, as I darted through the corridor, the elusive presence seemed to vanish into thin air, leaving behind a void of unanswered questions. Unwilling to surrender to frustration, I followed my gut instinct and turned right, hoping against hope that it would lead me closer to the enigma that had disrupted my night. Each step I took carried a weight of uncertainty, yet the alternative of remaining passive was unbearable. The choice was clear, I had to confront the unknown. Arriving at the end of the hallway, I cautiously rounded the corner, my senses heightened and my heart pounding in my chest. And there, standing before me, was my best friend, Thomas. The timing was too uncanny to be mere coincidence, and suspicion clouded my judgment. "What the hell is wrong with you, bro? You seriously freaked me out," I admonished Thomas, my voice laced with a mixture of anger and confusion. His bewildered expression gave me pause, leaving me torn between believing his innocence and succumbing to the fear that had taken root within me. Though tempted to find solace in his reassurances, I ignored my growing unease and returned to my room, hoping that the nightmare had come to an end. Yet, deep down, a nagging sense of apprehension gnawed at my consciousness, warning me not to lower my guard so easily. The minutes turned into hours as I tossed and turned in my bed, seeking respite from the unsettling events of the night. Just as sleep began to claim me once more, an abrupt jolt shattered the calm, a series of kicks originating from beneath my bed. To my bewilderment, there was no one to be found. Doubt infiltrated my mind, mingling with the paranoia that had taken hold of me. Was my imagination playing tricks on me, or was something far more sinister at play? Consumed by a sense of imminent danger, I fled from my room, abandoning any semblance of reason. My only solace was the thought of seeking refuge with a friend, praying they would be awake at such an ungodly hour. Desperation fueled my steps as I traversed the dimly lit hallway, haunted by the echo of my own footsteps. As I cautiously approached my friend's room, my heart sank. There, on the other side of the hallway, stood a figure bathed in shadow. Panic seized me as I realized it was the same individual who had tormented me earlier, a malevolent specter holding a gleaming, ominous object in their hand. Instinctively, I retraced my steps, propelled by a surge of adrenaline. I raced down the stairs, each step a desperate plea for salvation. My mind raced, conjuring images of the horrors that awaited me if I were to falter or succumb to the phantom's clutches. In my frantic search for refuge, I stumbled upon the janitor's room, a sanctuary within the chaos. With trembling hands, I slipped inside, ensuring that my hiding place was secure. The musty scent of cleaning supplies mingled with the metallic tang of fear that hung in the air. Silence enveloped me as I cowered in the darkness, desperately hoping that the enigmatic assailant would pass by without noticing my presence. Time seemed to stretch infinitely, as I questioned whether the threat had dissipated or if I had merely fallen into the eye of the storm. As the night wore on, the world outside my shelter remained eerily silent. I contemplated the possibility that the perpetrator had evaded capture, slipping away unnoticed by campus authorities. The realization sent shivers down my spine, for it meant that an unidentified predator may still roam free, haunting the lives of others, once turned into years. And the memory of that harrowing night lingered, etched into the recesses of my mind. I found solace in the fact that I had escaped unscathed, a stroke of luck bestowed upon me by some higher power. But the unanswered questions gnawed at my soul, fueling a relentless pursuit of the truth. I sought closure, delving into the depths of the incident with an unyielding determination. News clippings, police reports, and whispered rumors became my companions, as I pieced together the fragments of a puzzle that had haunted my existence. Yet, my efforts proved futile. The identity of the phantom remained elusive, leaving me with an unresolved sense of unease. Was he a mere figment of my imagination, a manifestation of my deepest fears? Or was he a malevolent force that continued to haunt the unsuspecting, his reign of terror perpetuated in shadows? To this day, the enigma remains unsolved, haunting my thoughts and reminding me of the fragility of our lives. The harrowing encounter taught me to be vigilant, to trust my instincts even when faced with the inexplicable. And though I may never have all the answers, I carry the weight of that night as a reminder that darkness lurks in the most unexpected places, and that sometimes the true horrors lie within the depths of our own minds.